The story begins with chaos on Earth. It's a calm, clear day when suddenly, the skies darken without warning. A low, rumbling sound fills the air as a massive fleet of alien ships silently emerges from the clouds, their sleek forms barely visible against the backdrop of the sky. They're cloaked, invisible to Earth's radar. These are no ordinary invaders. Their ships shimmer with alien energy, warping space itself, and their advanced technology makes them seem like shadows in the sky. The first strike comes without any warning. Huge beams of light shoot down from the alien ships, targeting major cities all over the world. Buildings crumble under the force of the bombardment, and the streets erupt into chaos. People scream in panic, running for cover as explosions rip through the skyline. Panic spreads like wildfire. Sirens blare across the globe, but it's too late. Earth's defenses are completely overwhelmed. The mighty alien fleet rains destruction, its power unlike anything humanity has ever seen. Cut to a military base in the heart of the world's defense network. General Ilara Kane, a woman with a reputation for calm under pressure, stands in front of a screen showing Earth's defenses, armored vehicles, missile launchers, and fighter jets, gearing up for a routine defense drill. But something's wrong. Her eyes flick to the corner of the screen where a red alert blinks urgently. A loud siren interrupts the briefing, shaking the room. Her face goes pale. "General, our defenses are being breached." A soldier rushes in, panic in his voice. On the main screen, Ilara watches in horror as enemy ships slice through Earth's defenses like a hot knife through butter. Missiles explode harmlessly against the alien ship's energy shields, and fighter jets are shot down in seconds. Earth's military has no answer to this attack. They're outclassed, outmatched. The invasion has begun. The aliens reveal themselves fully then, massive ships, each one the size of a city. They move with a terrifying grace, their sleek black surfaces reflecting no light. The fleet's leader, a race of beings called the Zenith, has arrived. Their ships are powered by technology far beyond human understanding, able to bend space itself, rendering them nearly invisible. The Zenith have been watching humanity for years, studying Earth from the shadows, and now they believe it's time to take what they want. In the military command room, Ilara stands still, her mind racing. She's been in countless battles, but nothing like this. How did we miss this? She mutters under her breath. The Zenith didn't just come to invade. They've come to conquer. For a moment, the reality of the situation hits her. The fate of Earth lies in their hands. But then, Ilara shakes off the doubt and steels herself. We never thought this day would come, but we'll make sure it's the last day for them, Ilara says, her voice calm but fierce. She turns to her team, her eyes burning with determination. This is humanity's fight now. We're not going to let them take our world. As she speaks, the camera cuts to scenes of destruction all around the globe. People are in the streets, running, hiding, trying to escape the madness. In the sky, more alien ships appear, blotting out the sun as they begin their descent towards Earth's surface. Back at the command center, Ilara prepares for action, her mind already working on a plan. The situation is dire, but she's not going to give up. The military is scrambling to retaliate, but every move they make is countered by the Zenith's superior technology. Earth's weapons are useless against them. Yet Ilara knows that in every defeat, there is an opportunity. Humanity is resilient, resourceful, and unpredictable. The Zenith may be the most advanced species in the galaxy, but they don't understand what humans are capable of when pushed to the edge. As the opening hook draws to a close, Earth's capital city is hit with a direct strike from one of the alien ships. The camera pans across the destruction, buildings collapsing, fires burning, people fleeing. In the midst of this, Ilara gathers her team of soldiers and scientists, determined to fight back. She knows the battle will be long and hard, but she also knows one thing for certain. Humanity has never backed down from a fight. The screen cuts to black, and the words appear. This fight is just beginning. The tone is set for an epic battle. The odds are impossible, but the human spirit is about to be tested like never before. The suspense lingers in the air, and the audience is left wanting more. Will humanity rise to the challenge, or will the Zenith prove unstoppable? The Zenith have been conquering planets for centuries, leaving a trail of destroyed civilizations in their wake. They see themselves as the rightful rulers of the galaxy, far superior to all other life forms. When they first observed Earth, they considered it a primitive, insignificant planet with no potential to challenge their power. In fact, the Zenith didn't even feel the need to send their best forces to take control. Earth's technology was laughably behind theirs, and the Zenith believed it would be easy to enslave humanity and turn the planet into a resource base. They had a plan, a devastatingly simple one. The Zenith deployed a mind control device, a powerful AI-controlled network capable of taking control of human minds. With it, they intended to break the spirit of Earth's population and force them into servitude. Their ships, powered by an energy source that could bend space, made Earth's defense systems look obsolete. The Zenith didn't expect resistance, not from a species that had only recently developed space travel. They figured the war would be over in a few hours. Humanity, they thought, would fall without a fight. But they didn't account for one thing: Earth's people. General Ilara Kane stood in the heart of Earth's Defense Command Center, watching helplessly as the battle unfolded before her. The Zenith's forces were overwhelming. Earth's military was trying to fight back, but it was hopeless. The alien ships were like ghosts, moving faster than the eye could follow, cloaked in energy fields that Earth's radars couldn't penetrate. The weapons humanity had developed over decades were useless against the Zenith's shields. Fighter jets were torn apart in seconds. The automated Zenith drones, programmed to annihilate anything in their path, hunted down human soldiers with ruthless efficiency. "Commander, the West Coast defense line is falling," one of her officers shouted as the screen showed another massive explosion in San Francisco. Ilara clenched her fists. Every move they made seemed to fail, every plan falling apart. It wasn't just the technology they were up against. It was the Zenith's sheer confidence, their belief that nothing could stop them. "They underestimated us," Ilara muttered, her eyes fixed on the screen. But deep down, she knew that this battle would take more than just strength. It would take something the Zenith couldn't see coming. As the battles raged on, Earth's people started to realize that victory couldn't come through force alone. A small group of survivors, scientists, engineers, and military strategists, began to work in secret. Among them was Dr. Bonner, a brilliant scientist who had been working on advanced technologies for years, long before the invasion. Dr. Bonner had known that humanity's survival would one day depend on a technological leap. So, he and a handful of researchers had been secretly developing AI-controlled starships and cloaking technology in hidden labs, far from the prying eyes of the Zenith. The catch was that the technology was still in its experimental phase. The AI starships had never been fully tested in combat, and the cloaking devices were far from perfect. They needed time to calibrate the systems and make sure they were combat-ready, time that they didn't have. Still, Dr. Bonner was determined. He knew this was humanity's only chance. Working tirelessly, he and his team managed to get the first AI-controlled starship into action. Barely. The ship appeared out of nowhere during a major battle, cloaked and invisible to the Zenith, and attacked with precision, causing damage to one of the alien dreadnoughts. It was a small victory, but enough to give Earth's forces hope. The Zenith had never expected humanity to possess such advanced technology, and they certainly hadn't anticipated humans using it against them. While the scientists worked on perfecting the new technology, Ilara led the charge on the ground. She refused to accept that humanity was doomed. With her team, she orchestrated a series of guerrilla raids against the Zenith's ground forces, using Earth's terrain, forests, mountains, and city ruins. Ilara and her soldiers employed surprise tactics, striking swiftly and retreating before the enemy could retaliate. These small victories, though they seemed insignificant, were a reminder to the Zenith that Earth was not so easy to conquer. In one daring raid, Ilara's team managed to destroy a key Zenith supply depot, crippling their ability to resupply their forces. The success of the mission was hard-won. Many soldiers lost their lives, and Ilara herself was wounded, but it was a clear sign that humans could fight back. "We might be outmatched, but we're not out of the fight," Ilara told her weary troops after the raid, her voice filled with conviction. The victories were small, but they were meaningful. The Zenith had expected Earth to crumble in the face of such overwhelming force, but they hadn't counted on humanity's will to survive, or their ability to adapt quickly. The battle had only just begun. Ilara knew that if they were to win, they would have to keep fighting, outsmarting the Zenith every step of the way. And with the new technology coming online, humanity might just stand a chance after all. Months had passed since the first devastating assault on Earth, and humanity had been pushed to the brink of extinction. Cities lay in ruins, millions were dead, and Earth's forces had been battered. But despite all the losses, humanity's spirit refused to break. In the darkest days of the war, an unexpected breakthrough came from the most unlikely source: a small, daring attack on a Zenith supply ship. Using the new cloaking technology that had been secretly developed, Ilara's team managed to ambush a Zenith transport ship in the middle of a routine supply run. The attack was swift, barely detected by the Zenith before it was too late. The ship's cargo was vital: advanced alien technology, including weapons, fuel, and intelligence about Zenith's future plans. When the wreckage was recovered, it was a treasure trove of information. From the ship's databanks, humanity learned more about the Zenith's technology, their ship designs, and their plans. This was the first real victory, a glimmer of hope in the endless struggle. Using the information from the wreckage, Ilara's team began reverse engineering the technology to build their own fleet. Slowly, piece by piece, they started to turn the tide. Humanity was beginning to fight back, using their enemies' own tools against them. But the victory came at a cost. During the raid, Dr. Bonner, the brilliant scientist who had helped develop the cloaking technology and AI-controlled ships, was killed. His death was a turning point. He had sacrificed himself to ensure the crew's escape, staying behind to hold off the Zenith forces while the others made it to safety. As the crew watched his sacrifice unfold, they heard his final words over the comms: "This is for humanity." The loss of Dr. Bonner was devastating, but it also sparked a deeper sense of unity. His bravery reminded everyone of what they were fighting for, not just for survival, but for the future of their species. His death galvanized the remaining survivors. The fight had become personal, and they would honor his sacrifice by continuing the battle, no matter what the cost. Amid the chaos of war, Alex, a young fighter pilot, was haunted by his own personal loss. During a brutal surprise attack by the Zenith, Alex lost his entire squadron. He had led them into battle, watching helplessly as his friends were torn apart by the alien fleet. The loss weighed heavily on him, and the pain drove him to the brink of madness. Alex's grief became a fire that burned within him, fueling his every move. He vowed revenge, promising to make the Zenith pay for the lives they had taken. His pain gave him a raw, unrelenting edge in battle. The loss of his comrades turned Alex into a fierce fighter, pushing him beyond his limits. His personal grief became a major driving force in the battles that followed. Every time he took to the skies in his fighter jet, he carried the weight of their memory with him. His squadron may have been gone, but their spirit lived on through him. In the field, Earth's soldiers fought with the same determination. Armed with alien technology, they were starting to win battles, turning the tide slowly but surely. Close quarters combat became a familiar sight. The once unbeatable Zenith were now forced to fight humans face to face, in the streets, on the ground, and in the air. Human ingenuity was on full display as soldiers adapted to alien technology, using it in ways the Zenith never expected. The battlefield became a place of chaos and violence, but also a testament to the spirit of resistance. The battlefield was a place of destruction and desperation. Broken buildings served as makeshift shelters as soldiers moved through ruined streets, hiding from zenith drones. The air crackled with energy as both sides unleashed their weapons, but it was the humans' ability to adapt that kept the fight alive. Alex flew his fighter through a storm of laser fire, weaving between debris from a destroyed alien dreadnought. Each move was a calculated risk, and every narrow escape felt like a small victory. On the ground, Earth's soldiers engaged in hand-to-hand combat with the Zenith's automated soldiers. Humans, using scavenged alien tech, fought with an edge that came from sheer determination. The sounds of clashing metal and gunfire filled the air as the two sides fought for control of the city ruins. The humans had finally learned to use the Zenith's weapons against them. They hacked their shields, turned the Zenith's drones into their own, and used cloaking devices to outmaneuver the alien fleet. For the first time in the war, the Zenith were being forced onto the defensive. As the war raged on, humanity discovered a critical flaw in the Zenith's seemingly invincible technology. Their eye-controlled fleets were vulnerable to hacking. The Zenith had placed too much trust in their artificial intelligence, neglecting the fact that their systems could be infiltrated by a skilled human hacker. Ilara and her team quickly realized the opportunity before them. If they could hack into the flagship of the Zenith fleet, the Eternal Vanguard, they could disable the entire Zenith Armada. But the plan was high risk. The Eternal Vanguard was heavily guarded, and the AI systems it controlled were sophisticated beyond anything humanity had encountered. A single mistake could lead to disaster. Ilara knew that the mission was a gamble, but it was the only chance they had. She gathered her best soldiers, including Alex, to infiltrate the flagship. The plan was set into motion. They would board the Eternal Vanguard, plant a virus in the ship's core system, and bring down the Zenith fleet from within. The stakes were higher than ever. This wasn't just a battle for survival. It was the final chance for humanity to prove that they could overcome the odds and win. The fight was far from over, but the survivors now had a glimmer of hope. They were no longer the underdogs. They were becoming the ones who would turn the tide. The fate of humanity hung by a thread as the final battle began in the cold expanse of space. Earth's fleet, now fully operational and powered by the stolen alien technology, gathered in orbit. The sky above Earth, once a peaceful canvas, had become a war zone, filled with hundreds of ships ready to clash. The Zenith fleet, vast and imposing, stretched across the heavens like a dark storm, their ships sleek and deadly, their eye-controlled drones swarming like locusts. The odds were still stacked against humanity, but the Earth's forces had something the Zenith did not: heart, unity, and the will to fight. The battle kicked off with a deafening roar of energy weapons as explosions lit up the dark void of space. Humanity's ships, equipped with cloaking technology, darted in and out of the chaos, launching surprise attacks. Lasers flashed across the battlefield, creating streaks of light that cut through the darkness. Starships twisted and turned in tight formations, weaving between debris and incoming fire. It was a deadly dance. One wrong move, and a ship would be reduced to nothing but space dust. Alex led a squadron of eye-powered starfighters, flying through the heart of the battle. His squadron had become an elite group, made up of the best pilots left on Earth. As they engaged the Zenith's automated drones in intense dogfights, Alex's heart raced. His squadron moved as one, coordinating strikes, dodging enemy fire, and covering each other's backs. The Zenith drones were fast and deadly, but Alex's team was faster. With each victory, they chipped away at the superior alien fleet, slowly but surely weakening their numbers. The sound of explosions echoed through the comms as Alex's wingman, Lieutenant Davis, shouted, "Incoming fire, evasive maneuvers." Alex banked his starfighter hard to the right, narrowly avoiding a blast that could have turned him into space debris. The battle was nonstop. the tension palpable as both sides pushed forward with everything they had. But humanity was determined, each victory fueling their hope. While the battle raged in space, Ilara was on a different kind of mission. Aboard a cloaked stealth ship, she and a small team infiltrated the heart of the Zenith Armada, the Eternal Vanguard, the flagship of the alien fleet. This was where the war would be decided. If they could disable the Eternal Vanguard, the rest of the Zenith forces would crumble. The Eternal Vanguard was massive, its corridors filled with alien soldiers ready to protect their leader at all costs. Ilara, armed with nothing but her skills and determination, fought her way through the ship, using guerrilla tactics to take out the enemy. The air was thick with tension as Ilara engaged in brutal hand-to-hand combat with the Zenith's elite soldiers. Every movement was calculated. Every step brought her closer to her goal. She was the underdog, the one woman taking on an entire fleet of technologically superior aliens. And yet, she kept pushing forward. Ilara's determination was fueled by the memory of the lives lost, of the sacrifices made by Dr. Bonner, and so many others. She thought of her soldiers back on Earth, fighting against the Zenith with everything they had. She couldn't let them down. The Eternal Vanguard was a symbol of the Zenith's dominance, and she would destroy it, no matter the cost. Finally, after hours of brutal combat, Ilara reached the command center of the Eternal Vanguard. She was face to face with the Zenith's Supreme Commander, a towering alien figure who looked down at her with contempt. He sneered, his voice cold and commanding. "You're nothing but ants, insignificant creatures. Surrender, and I may spare your pitiful planet." But Ilara stood tall, unshaken by his words. "You underestimate us," she said, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "We're not like you. We fight because we have something you'll never understand. Our strength is in our hearts, in our unity, and our ability to adapt. That's why we're still here, and that's why we'll win." The Supreme Commander laughed, but the sound was hollow. His confidence had faltered as the battle outside turned against him. Ilara's eyes glinted with defiance as she activated the virus. A surge of energy coursed through the system as the virus began to upload, its tendrils sinking into the heart of the ship's eye. The Eternal Vanguard systems began to malfunction, the lights flickering as the AI struggled to maintain control. Ilara knew she didn't have much time. She had to disable the superweapon, the one that had the power to annihilate Earth in an instant. As the Supreme Commander lunged toward her, trying to stop her, she managed to press a final button. The Eternal Vanguard shook violently as the superweapon went offline, a loud, deafening explosion rippling through the ship. The energy from the blast sent shockwaves across the battlefield, ripping apart the flagship and sending debris flying in all directions. The Zenith fleet, thrown into chaos, lost its cohesion. The AI systems that had once controlled their forces now faltered, leaving the remaining ships vulnerable. With the Eternal Vanguard destroyed, the Zenith fleet was thrown into disarray. The once unbeatable invaders were now retreating, their control shattered. Humanity's fleet, inspired by the victory, pressed forward with renewed strength. Alex and his squadron, pushing through the chaos of the final battle, scored victory after victory, taking down Zenith ship after ship. The relentless fighting and sacrifice had paid off. Earth was free. The battle that had seemed impossible just days before was now humanity's triumph. As the last of the Zenith ships were destroyed or fooled into the unknown, Ilara and her team returned to Earth, battered but victorious. The war was over. Humanity had won. They had shown the Zenith that their spirit, their unity, and their courage could never be crushed. In the aftermath, Earth rebuilt, stronger than ever. The loss was great, but the victory was even greater. The story of humanity's last stand would be remembered for generations to come, a reminder that no matter the odds, humanity could always find a way to survive. The aftermath of the battle left the once mighty Zenith forces reeling. Their massive armada, once invincible, was now a shattered remnant. Their fleets scattered, their superiority erased by humanity's unyielding will. The surviving Zenith ships limped away from Earth, their cloaking devices now failing, their numbers reduced to a fraction of what they had once been. The battle was over, and the Zenith had been defeated, not by superior technology or firepower, but by something far more powerful, humanity's unbreakable spirit. The Zenith's supreme commander, once a figure of untouchable arrogance, was now humbled. Standing on the bridge of what remained of his fleet, he looked out into the empty void of space, the vastness of defeat stretching before him. The realization had hit him. Humanity could not be crushed. Their will to fight, to survive, had proven far stronger than his people's cold, calculated superiority. For the first time, the commander understood. It wasn't the technology or the weapons that had won the war. It was humanity's refusal to give up. "Your people," he muttered, as if to himself, "they cannot be beaten. Not by us." He turned to his remaining commanders, their eyes filled with disbelief. It was over. The Zenith retreat had begun. They would never conquer Earth. Humanity had triumphed, not just through force, but through the strength of their unity, their resilience, and their sheer will to survive. The victory was not just military, it was ideological. The Zenith had come to Earth expecting an easy conquest, believing that their advanced technology and superior forces would ensure humanity's downfall. But they had underestimated something they couldn't comprehend: the heart of humanity. The humans hadn't simply fought back. They had turned the tide with their ingenuity, resourcefulness, and the deep connection they felt to each other. They fought not just for survival, but for their way of life, their freedom, and their future. As the Zenith fleet retreated, Earth became a symbol of hope across the galaxy, a beacon of resistance and strength. The news of humanity's victory spread like wildfire, inspiring oppressed worlds across the stars. The Zenith, once the supreme force in the galaxy, had been humbled. The Earth had shown that no matter how technologically advanced or powerful an enemy might be, the human spirit could never be crushed. As the war came to a close, Ilara stood alone in her quarters, looking out at the stars. The battles were over, but the journey had changed her, and everyone who had fought in this war. She thought of the friends she had lost, the sacrifices that had been made, and the price of their victory. But she also thought of the hope that had emerged from the darkness, the light of humanity's strength burning brighter than ever. In a quiet, reflective moment, Ilara spoke her final words. They thought the galaxy was theirs. But in the end, it wasn't about strength or weapons or technology. It was about something they never understood: our will to survive. They couldn't take that from us. Her voice carried the weight of the war, but also the certainty that humanity's place in the galaxy was now secure. Earth had proven that no matter how vast or threatening the universe might be, humanity's resolve was stronger. The world that Ilara had fought to protect now stood on the brink of a new era. Earth was no longer the underdog, the planet on the edge of destruction. They had emerged victorious, not as conquerors, but as protectors of freedom and hope. The war had forged new alliances with other worlds, ones who had once watched Earth from afar, unsure of its place in the galaxy. Now, humanity was seen as a symbol of resilience, a force for peace in a universe that had known nothing but conflict and conquest for far too long. Ilara's team was honored, their sacrifices remembered as the foundation of a new united world. They had fought not just to save Earth, but to send a message across the stars, that there was power in unity, in survival, and in the willingness to fight for something greater than oneself. Earth entered this new era with a promise: to protect those who could not protect themselves, to stand as a beacon of peace, and to ensure that the mistakes of the past would never be repeated. With the Zenith in retreat and their arrogance shattered, Earth now had the chance to help guide the galaxy towards a future where peace, not war, would reign. Humanity's triumph wasn't just a victory in battle, it was a victory of spirit. The galaxy had learned that Earth was a force to be reckoned with, not because of its strength, but because of its heart. And that was something no one could ever take away.